doesn't do justice to Pali words, Craving, you know what's craving? Craving for sensual pleasures, craving for non-existence, craving for existence. Clinging, do you know how many clingings? How many are they? 4, 5, 6. And he even gave numbers. He gave numbers. I don't know why he didn't mention 5 or 3. He kept on giving numbers. But then the thing comes, there's desire, there is clinging, there is craving. How do you know the difference between greed and desire and attachment and longing and craving and clinging and many craving, clinging, ailing. Tell me you said 6. I don't know about 6. I mean, you can multiply them and even get 108 or 60. The number doesn't matter, but we should appreciate why Buddha was talking about this. But there's a question that somebody asked me when I was in USA. You say, you monks, you don't cling. But you don't cling to Nibbana. You also want to attain Nibbana. You're also clinging to Nibbana. You are clinging to your rules. They say like this, we monks, you are clinging on to your rules. We bring food, you say, okay, we have to eat at this time. If you bring that, why don't you eat, Venerable? Are you not clinging on to your rules? Desire. You say, okay, you Buddhists, you talk about remove desires. What about desire to meditate? What about desire to attain Nibbana? Desire to meditate, desire to keep rules. So this question comes again and again. People ask us. Another question. If I get all my desire, how am I going to lead my life? What do you think? How are you going to lead your life? Do you want to have some desire? Or you want to get rid of? Desire for Nibbana. Can. And or can? Is it not another desire? It's a wholesome desire. Wholesome desire? There's what we call desire to be cultivated. Desire to be what? That's what we call desires to be cultivated. So then we need to distinguish between what the Buddha talked about, Dhamma, desire to cultivate the Dhamma, Dhamma Chanda. The word Chanda, it's actually a more neutral form of desire to do, stretch my hand like this. It's more of desire to do Chanda. In the monastic terms, it's approval. In the monastic tradition, when you want to go for confessing or do things in a sima where we ordain, basically we call it Sangha transactions. If somebody doesn't come, or still has not yet come, or is unable to come, then we say, go and get our approval, your approval, so that we can go ahead with the meeting, our meeting together. So go and get his chanda. That's what we say. Go and get his chanda so that we can continue on with the meeting. And that will be in terms of what we are seeking at that time. We want the approval. So now when it comes to our own experience, I think we tend to approve the essential world. We approve it to take charge, to take control. So then when the word chanda is coupled with certain words, then it means something different, like kama chanda. That means you're approving the essential world, kama chanda. Then there is the dhamma chanda, means you approve the dhamma world to take over. So now, For me, the distinction I got from my teacher, he talks about desire to be desireless. Desire to be desireless is Dhammachanda. Desire to be desireful is Kamachanda. So now you can make a distinction. Yes, now when I have desire to meditate, is the desire to be desireless. Because I meditate, then overcome what? Desire and reduce. Keep on reducing. That means desire to desire less. But then when I have ice cream, I need ice cream. And I scream, actually, by the way. That should be one of the quotes. When I eat ice cream, I scream. Because my teeth is no good, edging, you know. Yeah, but it was sometime it's hot day, and then you pass by, you know. Yeah, and some people take ice cream, and they say, wow, I like to take ice cream, you know. So then you desire to be desireful. In other words, you cannot get ice cream, and then you desire, and then when you take one ice cream, I say, I still feel so hot, you know. Let me get another one. And you get hooked. So desire to be desireful, you know. So now, when people challenge you that you Buddhists, you talk about getting rid of desire, why you have desire to go to meditate? You have to distinguish that. Make a distinction between Kamachanda and Dhammachanda. You make a distinction. Yeah, so in Africa, when we used to walk in the bush, then there are some plants which have thorns, and they would actually pierce you, and then they would break inside. Usually it's grass, but it has horns. So that part, when it breaks inside, back then we didn't have safety pins in a village, in my grandmother's village. They have to walk very far to get a safety pin. So what we did is to break another tree which has a thorn. So you use the thorn to get rid of the thorn. So we use the thorn to get rid of the thorn. So in other words, we use some form of desire to get rid of desire. Desire also to meditate is another desire, but is called Dhammachanda. But when we actually attain enlightenment, then we should not have that desire. We should not have that desire, yeah, because we have done all the work. So now we are talking about the high form of desire today. The high form of desire is called clinging. You know the difference between craving and clinging? What's the difference? Okay, what's the difference between just desire and clinging? Just desire and clinging. Clinging is very form, even the word clinging, it can give you some idea, clinging. Attachment. Time I demonstrated when I was here last time. Do you remember? You didn't remember last time I taught 5 years ago? 5 years ago I told that, okay, I desire this stick. Desire, and I get it. But still I desire, I'm open like this. It goes, okay, no problem. Again, goes like this, no problem. All right? So this is like this for me. I still have a desire for this stick. So beautiful. I should take it to Uganda. I can hold it, you know, no problem. But the problem, once I start clinging onto it, is like this. Try to get it. You see that resistance? I cling. You rather take my hand. You rather take my hand? And that's clinging. And is amount of resistance is a lot of suffering. We get a lot of that resistance. So this is really clinging on something. Clinging. So this is a very deep-seated defilement. In this case, we call it mental defilement. And the Buddha taught this one as the way to liberation. The 5 aggregates are called aggregates of clinging, not craving. They're called aggregates of what? Clinging. We clinging on to our form and the form of others, our body. Yeah? We cling on to our body. Then, even when the body has its own schedule to keep, the body is keeping a different schedule. Did you notice? It keeps on growing old. It doesn't obey to our commands, Though we want it to be otherwise, it keeps on doing its own thing, Then we cling on to feelings. We cling on to perceptions. Perceptions also we cling on. The way we perceive things. The way we see things and other people see things, we have different perception. Don't you see this person? No, it was not Bhante. It was something else. Even perception, Yes, this was this thing. No, it was not. So then we start arguing, We start arguing. Oh, this monk was enlightened. No, it's not La, No, this is who said it's enlightenment? We cannot find. Then you got somebody who said this monk is enlightened. He said, no, also somebody told me. Before we argue that monk is enlightened, others are not enlightened, again, it's perception. Then mental formation, our desire again, we cling again. Mental formation is desire, attachment. We cling on to our anger and all this kind of thing. Then our also consciousness, also our awareness, we cling on to it. So now we are going to look at 4 kinds of non-clinging. I've told you what's clinging. So the opposite of is letting go, isn't it? So liberation, what's liberation? Awakening. Who can define liberation? Release from suffering of samsara. Samsara means wandering. It comes from the Pali word charati or sarati, walking. Sarati is a verb, walking. But if you put some, it's not simple walking. It's intensified walking here and there, going around and around, Now, if we are liberated, that means we are going to be liberated from what? From the cycle of birth and death. So, as usual, I like to be able to write something because this topic is very, very important. It's concerned about liberation. We are going to read the suttas. Wow. And I'm going to even to borrow time, I think. Wow. I'm not going to cling on to time, but I'm just going to borrow time. Because you need to know this today. And maybe some of you will be liberated today, so I need to make sure. No. Yes, thank you very big, because you really actually, thank you very much, because everything now is working. Thank you very much. So now, there are 4 kinds of what? Kinds of craving. We need to understand them. First, liberation, we need to know a few things. In order to practice to get liberated, I want to list, there's no shortcut. This is called a stream. No wonder the person who's liberated is called what? Stream enterer. The word stream means sota. Sota means ear, a physical ear. No wonder savaka, those who listen, So that's one meaning. One meaning is what? Ear. I bet meaning here. Ear. That's one meaning. Another meaning is, this is a physical, of course, physical ear. This is physical. Another meaning is actually more metaphysical. The stream in a river, This is more metaphysical. Metaphysical. Okay. Metaphysical. Metaphorical. Metaphorically, this is actually a stream of what? A river. There's a current, the currents, which goes until it goes into the ocean. It just goes on that direction until it goes in the ocean. But our meaning today is actually, in order to be a stream enterer, apana, stream enterer, you have to practice the Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, this is metaphysical or philosophical. Let's say philosophical meaning. Philosophical meaning. All right? So we'll take the philosophical meaning, this one is used, but for my purpose here, you need to practice the Noble Eightfold Path if you want to be liberated. You know the Noble Eightfold Path, right what? By the way, do you know why it's called right? Right, the reason why it's called right is actually perfect, and also it is includes, complete. It includes other factors, right? So we have right what? Right mindfulness. We have right understanding. Right understanding. Okay, then 2, right thoughts. Right thoughts. Right speech. Right action. Livelihood. Livelihood. Another one? What? Okay, effort. Okay. Number 7, mindfulness. Those who want to get liberated, there's no shortcut. This one it is. Concentration. Okay. So that's the way to liberation. This is the what? The way to liberation. So you remember yesterday we talked about vision and mission? This is now, does BF has core values? Yeah, these are core values now. Add to the list. This was mission. I told you the Four Noble Truths last time, You remember? To what? To understand? To what? Abandon. Then? Realize it. You abandon now clinging. Now what we are going to do what? Abandon clinging of what? 5 aggregates, So that we have only 5 aggregates. Isn't it? So now we all put together everything we put together. This what? Do what? To develop? Develop what? This one. So this is what? Mission. These are our core values now. Buddhism also have core values. Core values, we have integrity, we have vision, we have vision again, we have integrity, we have effort, we have awareness, we have focus, we have communication. Everything is there. Yeah, so now at least during my visit today, you have the vision to attain Nibbana. To attain what? Attain Nibbana. Yeah, in stages actually. This is done in stages. So then you have the mission here, then you have the core values, okay? So we're good now. So now what liberation it means breaking the shackles, right? Liberation means to do what? Breaking the shackles. These are shackles. They are called 10 fetters. 10 what? 10 fetters. 10 fetters. 10 fetters. The first one is, what? Sakai did self. Self-identity views. Okay, then another one. Rights and rituals. Doubt. No, this is skeptical. Skeptical doubt is not the same as then attachment. Attachment to rights and rituals. Then number 4, greed Then ill will. Ill will. That means your will is ill, you know. Number 6, craving for material existence, material. And now number 7 is craving for non-material existence, non-material existence. Now we are on the way to liberation. Now, conceit, mana, then restlessness, and ignorance. All right? All right? This ignorance. That one also we should know the list. That when we practice this, it cuts off this. That's what it cuts off. So it's just like a tree like this, a tree. This is like my teacher told me about this when he was teaching me, that he drew a tree, and then down here, this is the earth, and here there were roots like this. The roots. So now, skeptical doubt. Down here is skeptical doubt. Skeptical what? Doubt. But here there's doubt. Because these are called underlying tendencies. The underlying so as long as the skeptical doubt is there down, you don't see it. Just like when you say tree, you don't see the roots, do you? You just see only this one. But as long as the roots are here, the branches are going to be there. So it feeds into. So this gets water and transports here, and then you get doubt. So the doubt here is different from the doubt here. Doubt here, skeptical doubt, is something that I'm going to show you, different. And this doubt is more uncertainty. Should I watch the breath on here or rising and the fall of abdomen? You doubt, you're not very clear, just like riding, you know, when you're driving and then you reach this path, it says, should I take this one or should I take this one? So in other words, but this is a deeper one, you know. So you found out also greedy. This might be greedy down here, but here is a lot. There's more, including ill will. So it's a lot, even restlessness. This is more subtle than here. So in other words, these are 5 hindrances. It's like on the top, what you see that manifests. And now this one is down here. So now in our practice of liberation through non-clinging, we need to cut off slowly by slowly this one. We can cut off this one. Skeptical doubt we cut off. Self-identity we cut off. Self-identity we cut off like this. Then we, at least the more we cut off, the more the tree becomes weak. It starts inclining like this. The more we cut off, So now like this. No. All these are roots. All these are 10 roots. Yeah, all these are roots.
Yeah, but you put the dot right on top, so shouldn't the dot be
No, this doubt is just naked doubt. This doubt is different from skeptical doubt. This is called skeptical. Yes, this doubt is 5 hindrances. Many books I see they make a big mistake. Where as soon as we put the word skeptical, it means skepticism. Skeptics, we are going to even read them. Yeah? You are going to read them. They are called skeptics. Yes, so I'm going to show you how to said. So basically these are 10 and these are 5. So as long as the 10 here, they always throw surprises like this. Yeah? So even if you remove these 5 hindrances and your 10 is first jhana and concentration, these will be here. But as long as you cut one like this until you cut the 10, the whole thing now goes with a bulldozer. The whole thing goes and you are liberated. But the good news, you can cut slowly by slowly. Slowly, you chip it slowly by slowly. The more you chip off, the more the tree goes inclined like this. Keep on going. You become weaker and weaker until it has no support up like. So we are going to see how we do it. And you do this kind of cutting using this. There is no shortcut. One time I was traveling, I was going to go for arms round, arms round, and Bhavana Society in West Virginia. I found American boys on my way going. I found American boys. They had party for the whole night. The whole night near the monastery, they had party. And then I went for arms round. When I came back, the boys they were still taking beer in the morning, you know. Then they said, please come here. We offer you a bottle of beer. I said, no. They said, well, you don't know what you are missing. This will take you where you want to go faster. No shortcut. The boys challenged me, actually. I don't know whether they had tried meditation and concluded that this is hard work. Yeah, so anyway, some people, so now this is clear because I'm going to rub this one. How do we start to cling? I mean, to non-cling. This is one of them. This is one of the clinging. This is another clinging. This is another clinging. There's another clinging. Okay, now at least get this one from here. And the most troublemaker is this one. Once you get rid of this, you are good to go. This is the most troublemaker. I'm going to rub it, but I'm going to show you where the problem comes. Once you break this one, the rest is going to be not so difficult. I'm going to rub this one. Last time, those who attended my class, I think you saw it, but now I'm repeating it for people. As I told you today, that you never know, people might get liberated. So that's why I have to be very systematic. I don't have to miss anything. So I'll tell you the troublemakers here. That's what actually was going on during the time of the Buddha. With the mission, the core values, it's okay. Now you know stream entra. Stream, you know sota. Sota. Okay, now, so why I say the first fetter is the most troublemaker, because you know that fetters is the what bind us to some side. And so we cannot escape. Keep on pulling us back. So now, during the time of the Buddha, there are a few things that occupied during the time of the Buddha. Things that occupied people was self or soul. Soul. That was the biggest preoccupation during the time of the Buddha. On top of that, of course, the body also. What was the body occupied them. But more so, what occupied them is the world. What's the world, actually? What's the world? And finally, I mean, in my discussion, seeing the destination. What's the destination of these things? So, so this one pretty much occupied them. This one occupied them. And what was the destination of this? Just to be simple, that's what occupied most of the philosophical thinkers during the time of the Buddha. So during the time of the Buddha, there were so many thinkers. There were 62 of them thinking, and we're going to discuss a few things around them. So now, they hold two opposing views. Opposite views. Opposite views. Or opposing views. These the views they held, but all of these views, if you elaborate them, there are 62 views. But we can squeeze them into two, and all those views are related to self. Identification. Self what? Identification. Self-identification. Identification. Identity. Identification. All of them, or soul. as it was called, soul theory. So now, according to these views, there are 62 of them. You can reduce them to two views only. One is called identity, or actually duality. That means the self or the soul, and the body are actually separate. So this is separate, and the body is separate. All right? The body is separate. So in other words, though this is basically, they are saying this is separate from the body was physical, and this is metaphysical. So now this was duality. In fact, most of them come from here, like 55, I think they come from here. So now there's an opposite view. Of course, this was that there's what we call identity. So what they did was, if this is the body, it was identical to what? Identical to the body. The body and the soul were identical. What it meant with the soul for them was physical. It was made of what? 4 elements. All right? 4 elements, of course, they added also space. So the body is physical, basically. So now this brought a lot of problems. This duality and identity brought a lot of problems that actually we are going to read. Some of them you are going to see. So now, this duality is like this. When the time of death comes, as I told you, the destination, they say that, well, this is metaphysical, this will die, but this will continue on forever. And that came up with what we call eternity views. Eternalistic views. That means that this will exist forever, right? Now, on this side, what happened is that, okay, this is because this is the same. The body, when it dies, it will die along with the what? With its soul, with itself. All together, they will die together at the same time. So no escape, because this is physical and this is physical. So what they had is called annihilation views. Annihilationism, eh? So in other words, this means everything is kaput after death. So while all this you think is very simple like this, but it brought a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Because these were opposite views, opposing each other. Huh? They are opposing each other. And now, what comes from this were more of behaviors, how people behave. Based on their views, their world views, we can say this is a world view. How they behaved. This behavior of having this soul to be separate from the body, it creates behavior like what we call attachment to rites and rituals, or believing. Attachment to what? To rites and rituals. Rites and rituals. Attachment to rites and rituals. And this is another form of clinging. So already, this one clinging already to the view of the self. This is now clinging to. Now, another clinging is this one. We call this clinging. One, clinging identity view. Another one, eternalistic views. Another one, annihilistic views. Now, this is attachment. The fourth attachment is here. Again, these are behaviors. On this line, these are what? Behaviors. People behave like that. Behaviors. These were just behaviors, actually. Behaviors. So now, on this way, the way people behaved, you know the reason why they have attachment, rites, and rituals? It's just to purify the soul, so that it goes out of the gravity of the body, so that it can reach its destination. So in other words, the attached rites and rituals are the way to liberation. Because also we have rites and rituals, but we don't attach to them as the way to liberation. Right? So then, this, remember this was to purify the soul. They did it to purify the what? The soul. So in other words, they had to do rites and rituals to please the destination, wherever it's going, to please. Now here on one side, because they believe that there's no life after death, so then this is called material. What was this called material annihilation? Material annihilation. This is more of spiritual eternalism. Spiritual what? Spiritual eternalism views. So now these people also have their own behaviors. Their behavior was to self-indulge. Self what? Indulgence. Self-indulgence. Self-indulgence. Enjoy while it's still here. Tomorrow it's not going to be here. So they enjoy what we call sensual pleasures. So that's what Buddha said, clinging to what? Clinging to. So now you know all how the fourth clinging comes about. So are you going to forget about the fourth clinging? I don't think so. This is how the Buddha came up with the four clingings. He was not thinking, these yogis, meditators, let me give them four. He tosses four. Yeah, especially Singaporean. They have good memory. Why are they not four or one? Why is it there's not one clinging? This was the first clinging. Everybody clinging on the self and all these things. And then what happened? Views, 62 views. One is this view, another one this view. Number one view and number two. And now from this view we get behaviors. Attachment to what? Rights and rituals. And now, so this is clinging number one, clinging number two, clinging number three. No, this is all one actually. This is considered one, clinging to views. All right? This is number three. This is number two, clinging number one, and then clinging number four. So there are four kinds of clinging. Four kinds of what? Of clinging. Clinging. These people didn't stop here. Suffering came up. Because they suffered, that's why the Buddha formulated his teaching on the Four Noble Truths. So now he said that craving for existence. These people are craving for what? I don't have a red pen because this is going to all mixed, I don't have a red pen, do you? Because it's going to be mixed. Because now you are going to see why the Buddha taught the three kinds of craving. From clinging, then you are going to see how the craving came. But I need a different pen. Because for me, it's very important to know this, you appreciate this, so that you know where the work is. You can start here, but the work is here. Are we together? Where is the work? The real work. That's very good. You made me happy today. You made me officially happy. You see, now, since these are behaviors, now, how did these people behave? These people, do you know how they behave? They start craving for existence. You see, craving, because the Buddha talks about the cause of suffering. What is the cause of suffering? You remember the cause of suffering? What was the second mission? Second mission statement. You know the cause of suffering? Craving for what? Craving for sensual pleasures. Number two, craving for existence. But I would say coupled with wrong views of what? Coupled with the wrong views of eternalism. What was the cause? The third one? Non-existent. So now we can see how the Buddha formulated the cause of suffering. The cause of suffering, these people, their behavior was, apart from rites and rituals, what did they do? They start craving for what? Craving for existence. Okay? That is cause of suffering. Now you can see how you can liberate yourself from non-clinging. So now your job, if you want to get liberated from non-clinging, practice the Noble Eightfold Path and chip off this one. Okay? That's the deal. We make the deal. Okay. On this side, the other people crave for what? Craving for non-existence because they want to stop. Non-what? Existence. Okay? So this is the first one. Actually, this is the third. This is the third. This is the second. Are we together? You see, these are just behaviors. Because the craving for existence, because of the rites and rituals, because of they have a soul and self which is going, you can see now they're craving like that. So now, this one, if you want to liberate yourself, you have to do like this. Number one is here. Number one is here. Number one is what? Craving for what? Craving for sensual pleasures. So now you cut off this one, you cut off number two, you cut off number three, finish. Kaput. You are done. Done for the day. So the real work is this one. But yesterday, I think I talked about how we have 20 views. These are 20 views. They are what? 20 views. Do I have to repeat them? Sister Eileen, I think we have already discussed. The sister, wrong what? Wrong views. There are 20 of them because we say that these 5 aggregates of clinging. So by the way, when we stop clinging, they're called only 5 aggregates. They're called what? 5 aggregates. So then we say that whether you think that the material form is identity or is duality or identity, so we can find out whether it's possessed or not. These are 4 times 5, you get 20. We talked about this, whether the self possesses a material form, self-possessing material form, whether material form is inside the self or the self is inside the self, or the same or different. The same. So we discussed this already. So now this is our major work here. Our major work is to get rid of what? The 20 wrong views. When we get rid of the 20 wrong views, slowly by slowly, then we are not going to have these views. When we don't have these views, then we are not going to have clinging rites and rituals. Then we are not going to have craving for existence. So the same thing here, we get rid of wrong views. We are not going to have what we call self-indulgence. We are not going to crave for sensual pleasures. We are not going to crave for non-existence. So the choice is ours. And where do we start? Who guess? Where can you start to liberate yourself? Where do you start? Right understanding, I told you about these things, but the whole thing comes together. When you practice meditation, you have this one, and then one day you break through, and then you cut this one, and you are called Sota Pana. You have entered the stream for the first time, and you have 7 lives to achieve enlightenment. I would like you to read a discourse to show you the flavor of these people. You don't know the flavor of these people, what they thought. We're going to read an example from one, another one. They were the contemporaries of Buddha. And then we finish today. At least I've told you how to practice the Noble Eightfold Path. I told you how to break the fetters. I've told you how the clinging comes and all this comes. So now, number 2. Number 2 discourse. Page. We are going to start with page number 16, page 93. Digha Nikaya. Did you understand this? Everybody is okay? You see how the Buddha came up with the 4 cravings systematically? And then also the craving, how he said the cause of suffering. Yesterday I was talking about how these people, it's called self-mortification. Oh, I forgot, just a moment. These behaviors were called self-mortification. Self-mortification. These are called what? Well, they are doing self-indulgence. This one was called self-mortification. To the Buddha, this was leading to suffering. Self-mortification. Self what? Mortification. Mortification. The Buddha was saying this is painful. Was painful. That's why he formulated his teaching that craving for these things, this is an extreme, and then stay away from this extreme. Because this was an extreme, but this is an extreme. Leads to suffering and all these things. So these are behaviors. So we can see here, and also we can see here craving, self-indulgence, and all this. So two sides all come from these views, and all are tied together in this one. So non-self. Who has a self, by the way, today? You still have one. Last time I was teaching about this, but still people still have one. Now you see the price, if you still have one. Okay, let's read. We are going to get a flavor of how these people thought. Let's get the flavor. No, number 16. Purana Kassapa. Purana Kassapa. That one. Read. Who wants to read? Read. You're going to get a flavor of one of those people the way they thought. Nobody wants to read. Number 16.
Thereupon, one of his ministers said, "Your Majesty, there is Purana Kassapa, the leader of an order, the leader of a group, the teacher of a group, well known and famous, a spiritual leader whom many people esteem as holy. He is aged, long gone forth, advanced in years, in the last phase of life. Your Majesty should visit him. Perhaps he might bring peace to your mind." But when this was said, King Ajatasattu remained silent. Other ministers said, "Your Majesty, there is Makali Gosala, Ajita Kesa Kambala, Pakuda Kachayana, Sanjaya Belata Putta, Nigata Natta Putta, the leader of an order, the leader of a group, the teacher of a group, well known and famous, a spiritual leader whom many people esteem as holy. He is aged, long gone forth, advanced in years, in the last phase of life. Your Majesty should visit him. Perhaps he might bring peace to your mind." But when this was said, King Ajatasattu remained silent. All this time, Jivaka Komarabacha sat silently not far.
Sorry. I think different 16, number 16. For me, it talks about once, Lord, I went to see Purana Kassapa, having exceeded courtesies, sat down, good Kassapa, just, I think it's different here. It's page 94. Score. Or somebody can get the book because I don't see.
Oh, the doctrine of Purana Kassapa.
Yes, the doctrine. Can you read?
This one. One time I approached Purana Kassapa there, is it? Is this one there?
Yes. Read that one.
The doctrine of Purana Kassapa. One time I approached Purana Kassapa and exchanged greetings and courtesies with him and sat down to one side. I then asked him if he could point out any fruit of recluseship visible here and now. When I had finished speaking, Purana Kassapa said to me, Great king, if one acts or induces others to act, mutilates or induces others to mutilate, tortures or induces others to torture, inflicts sorrow or induces others to inflict sorrow, oppresses or induces others to oppress, intimidates or induces others to intimidate, if one destroys life, takes what is not given, breaks into houses, plunders wealth, commits burglary, ambushes highways, commits adultery, speaks falsehood, one does no evil. If with a razor-edged disc one were to reduce all the living beings on this earth to a single heap and pile of flesh, by doing so there would be no evil or outcome of evil. If one were to go along the south bank of the Ganges, killing and inducing others to kill, mutilating and inducing others to mutilate, torturing and inducing others to torture, by doing so there would be no evil or outcome of evil. If one were to go along the north bank of the Ganges, giving gifts and inducing others to give gifts, making offerings and inducing others to make offerings, by doing so there would be no merit or outcome of merit. By giving self-control, restraint, and truthful speech, there is no merit or outcome of merit. Thus, Venerable Sir, when I asked Purana Kassapa about a visible fruit of recluseship, he explained to me his doctrine of inefficacy of action. Venerable Sir, just as if one asked about a mango, would speak about a breadfruit, or as if one asked about a breadfruit, would speak about a mango. In the same way, when I asked Purana Kassapa about a visible fruit of recluseship, he explained to me his doctrine of the inefficacy of action. Then, Venerable Sir, I thought to myself, one like myself should not think of troubling a recluse or Brahmin living in his realm. So I neither rejoiced in the statement of Purana Kassapa, nor did I reject it. But though I neither rejoiced in it nor rejected it, I still felt dissatisfied, yet did not utter a word of dissatisfaction. Without accepting his doctrine, without embracing it, I got up from my seat and left.
Okay, now, it gives you a flavor of how people thought. When people believed like this, they cannot do any dana. So that's why the Buddha said these views are leading to suffering. Can you see killing all people at the river Ganges and heap all the flesh? There's no evil done. Don't you think that having the view that is causing suffering? And some people still are abandoning these views, by the way. So now let's get another flavor. Another person can read. Number 23, Ajita Kesambali. You want to read? Who want to read? Yes. Yes. Ajita.
The doctrine of Ajita Kesa Another time, Venerable Sir, I approached Ajita Kesa, exchanged greetings and courtesies with him, and sat down to one side. I then asked him if he could point out a fruit of recluseship visible here and now. When I had finished speaking, Ajita Kesa said to me, Great King, there is no giving, no offering, no liberality. There is no fruit or result of good or bad actions. There is no present world, no world beyond, no mother, no father, no beings who have taken rebirth. In the world, there are no recluses and Brahmins of right attainment and right practice who explain this world and the world beyond on the basis of their own direct knowledge and realization. A person is composed of the four primary elements. When he dies, the earth in his body returns to and merges with the external body of the earth. The water in his body returns to and merges with the external body of water. The fire in his body returns to and merges with the external body of fire. The air in this body returns to and merges with the external body of air. His sense faculties pass over into space. 4 men carry the corpse along on a bier. His eulogies were sounded until they reached the charnel ground. His bones turned pigeon-colored. His meritorious offering end in ashes. The practice of giving is a doctrine of fools. Those who declare that there is an afterlife speak only false, empty prattle. With the breaking out of the body, the foolish and the wise alike are annihilated and utterly perish. They do not exist after death.
Thank you very much. Now, you've got the flavor. So those people actually, when a monk come from Uganda, they will not listen. There's no wise people. After all, we are going to perish, you know. So I like you in your free time to read that discourse. You are going to see all what I'm talking about here, how it was causing suffering. So the Buddha, what he did is to do the middle way and avoid the extremes and taught the Noble Eightfold Path. And that's liberation through non-clinging. That's the end of the talk. Thank you very much. May you all be liberated. Okay. Now, questions. Now we have about 5 minutes, Singapore time. Oh, 10 minutes. By the way, when I came here for the first time, in 1996, I came here. I was so surprised that when I was delayed for 1 minute, I couldn't find the train. Every time, everywhere I was going to get a bus to Malaysia, 1 minute, you don't find the bus. So, up all the time, and knowing that Singaporeans are very serious about time. That time I had not gone anywhere out of Asia. It was Africa and Asia. Now, later on, of course, I went to live in America, and I went to Switzerland, and I found even more serious people like the Germans. So I'm very careful to end exactly at 1:45, not more than that. So I request me to relax a little bit, but since then I got a direct transmission of Singapore. In fact, another thing, 2 things I remember: time. Another thing is cleanness, and the third is it was fine because I bought even a T-shirt. They say Singapore is a furnished city. But these T-shirts are not there anymore, maybe. But back then, I saw maybe I'm a monk, I haven't gone to the shopping centers. But anyway, there I bought a T-shirt and I went to Uganda. Singapore is a fine city, you know. And also the cleanliness. I remember I was taking popcorn. I was taking popcorn because I was a layman and just watched the movie, going late, coming late. 11. Before 11, there was a Emirati. I had popcorns, and I was entering. My friend said, "You see, $500." So, but I stayed here for 2 weeks. I enjoyed Singapore, actually. I really enjoyed. But those 3 things: time, fine, and cleanness. Okay, let's ask questions, please. Any question? Let's see one who's liberated now.
Thank you for the talk. So I have a question. What is the difference between the Dhamma Chanda, which you mentioned, the desire to be desireless, and the difference for craving for non-existence?
Craving for non-existence is actually come from this one, non-existence, is actually annihilation. You don't want anything after death. In many ways, and live alone even when we don't have these views in our life. When we had unpleasant existence, unpleasant feelings, we don't want anything to be with it. We want everything to end. So this one is more stemming from this view, annihilation. Yeah, that's why normally for me when I talk about this, I always say craving for non-existence associated with the wrong view. It's associated with the wrong view. Because it's about the wrong view that, as we have seen, is that the soul and the self are identified together. The soul is physical, and the self is also physical, made of elements, as we have read. So that at the moment of death, everything stops there. The wise and the foolish, they all die. In other words, there's no need to keep moral precept and ethical conduct. After all, you are going to die. So you better enjoy the sense pleasures and then finish. Yes, but on a momentary level, we see it in our life, whereby we don't want things to happen if they're unpleasant. We want to cease everything to cease. Let's say you get, we get a quarrel with our friend, and it becomes very messy. Messy. Maybe example of divorce, maybe sometime very difficult. And you don't want anything to do with any person like that. So in other words, you crave things to end, friendship to end. This is on moment-to-moment level, but it's deeper than that because this is more of a larger picture. We think about after all. So we have a worldview that after all, when I die, yes, things will end there. So the same thing we can say craving people who do suicide. So they think that actually by killing themselves, that will be the end of their problem. But that's the beginning of that problem. because for anybody who knows Buddha's teaching, as soon as you die with anger, you emerge in even unwholesome and woeful states of mind. I mean of existence. So that's what it means. Now, we talk about Dhammacanda as different thing. Desire to practice Dhamma, desire to be desireless. That means I want to practice. You see, what we call venom paradox. Venom for the snake, when it bites you, this venom can be poison. This can be poison. Okay? This is venom. So it's poison, but also it can be medicine. So what they do, they keep it in the fridge, they add more things and preserve it, and then it serves as medicine. So now, desire to be desireless, Dhammacanda, is now I practice mindfulness. So mindfulness can make a difference between bondage or freedom. This is the same object of desire. I become mindful of it. Whenever there's some impulse of desire, I become mindful of it, rising and then passing away, rising and passing away. Then I don't cling on to it. That means there's a desire to be desireless because I'm practicing meditation, though it's a form of desire to meditate, but I'm getting rid of the problem. This is not annihilation. Yeah? Yeah, so in other words, most of the people, even were talking about annihilation, the Buddha is also teaching annihilation, but it was annihilation of the mental defilement, not the self. That's what the Buddha was being achieved, that an annihilation of the yes. So in other words, to the Buddha, existence and non-existence, those are different views, opposing views. For him, what he taught is everything dependent on arising. So he sidestepped existence, non-existence. These are strong views. The other one is not so much of a view. Are we together? Craving, Dhammacanda is a desire to be desireless. In other words, to reduce the desire until there's no desire. And Are you going to become a vegetable when you have no desires? Like people who are enlightened, you know, they have gotten rid of greed, hatred, and delusion. They still eat food. You don't become a vegetable, don't worry. Oh, can you have ice cream? No, 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 no. I don't choose anything. Bhante, have the ice cream. Do you prefer vanilla or chocolate? Oh, no desire for me. No, you can still choose. You see? So does that make sense? Desire to be desireless is not annihilation. You are annihilating defilement. This is this annihilation of existence. Oh, you see that I can put in a simple term there. Their desire to be desireless is annihilation of which is okay, mental defilement. This one is annihilation of what we call soul, self. That's the difference. Big one. Okay, last question.
Bhante, what is skeptical doubt, and can you give some example of skeptical doubts?
Skeptical doubt. Skeptical doubt is more of doubt about the teaching of the Buddha, dependent origination, doubting the Four Noble Truths. The cause of suffering is greed and hatred and delusion, and then they say, no, no, that's no la. The cause of suffering is this and this. Dependent origination, you doubt it. Buddha, you doubt it. Dhamma, you doubt it. Sangha, oh, these are Maasai people, you know. Like for me, they call me Maasai tribe. They don't know that I'm a member of Sangha, you know. Every time they say, wow, this is Shaolin master, is going to kick you. Don't talk, keep quiet, you know. Those people are supposed to keep quiet. I don't know, these people watch some movies, many movies in Uganda. By the way, Singapore, if you know any movie maker, please tell me. We would like to make a movie to straighten the views of African people. I'm telling you, whenever I walk, people say, no, those people don't talk. And then another one say, they will kick you, don't even bother. Others they say, I'm going to a mental hospital. Others think I'm coming from a mental hospital. You know, I'm just coming from the temple in the morning, and then I decide to go to Kampala to do something. They think that I'm going to the mental hospital. Let's say, some of them, they ask me why I dressed. Then I told them, am I naked? Because for them, dress means to be in English, you know. They expect to be in a shirt and a pair of trousers. They have even forgotten that this thing came just later on. We African people, we used to dress like this. But then they ask me why I'm not dressed. Sometimes they confuse my gender. Is it a female or a male? I'm telling you. They don't know that I'm a member of Sangha. So those people, how can they have skeptical doubt about the Sangha. Dhamma, you talk about Dhamma in Uganda. Buddhism? Baha'i, oh, you're Baha'i. Even the people who are read, actually, it's amazing. People read and they don't know about Buddhism. They even keep on saying, oh, this is Hinduism. I said, that's a different cup of tea. Baha'i, Buddhism, Baha'i and Hinduism, they think like this all the time. I say, Buddhism is one of the 4 major religions in the world. But here's the good news. Since 2016, they have put us in a syllabus, divinity, high school. So now students who are in high school, they have to study Buddhism. Because the people who developed the curriculum, they had the Baha'i, Hinduism, and Christianity. So no wonder they didn't know Buddhism. Now, slowly by slowly, I appeared in the television, newspaper, blah, blah. So now they say, there's Buddhism in Uganda. So now they have put us the Buddhist peace school. It's a very good, the Buddhists are helping the society to do social work, educate, and peace, and the founders called the Bhante Buddharakkhita, Uganda Buddhist Center. Now people ask question 25 marks. So I said sadhu, 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 because I was really exhausted answering the questions of Ugandan people, you know. Yeah, they had no clue about Buddhism, actually. So now there's good news. They have some clues. Okay, one last
Bhante,
question?
last question.
Last question.
It's in three.
So now doubt, you understand doubt, skeptical doubt, about, normally is about, based on the soul, let me finish this, is based more of the self. That doubt is based on the self. To distinguish from the other doubt, which is about whether uncertain, this is based on the self, whether the self exists in the past, whether self is the same self now, and is the same self that's going to go. So it's about doubt about the past of the self, present of the self, and the future of the self. That's the best distinction to really give between the two. Because it all comes from here. This doesn't come from here. This was the doubt. It comes from the practice of a doubt. May I watch the breath here or here? It has nothing to do with self. But this one, the self, the people think that in the past they had a self. And now when they come here, the self is in this body. And when they die, the self goes out of the nose or whatever, and goes in the body. So it's very deep stuff. Now you know the difference between doubt, skeptical doubt and the other doubt. Skeptical doubt is rotating around the self, and also it's about doubting the Buddha's teaching on dependent origination, the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, like that. Because you might have a belief in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, but still when you're meditating, sometimes you may be having doubt where to practice, where to do this. Okay, last. The last question.
None?
No question.
Good. All understood. But
All understood? All did understand, eh? Yeah,
I take as positive.
Okay, all understand. And please always keep this in mind if you want to get liberated, so that you have a clear understanding. Very clear understanding, because that's the first thing you must have understanding. If you cannot make this distinction between the two, you cannot appreciate Buddha's teaching, by the way. Today, actually, if you really take this seriously, you're going to begin to understand, wow, that's why the Buddha told karma. Eh? Because on one side, people thought that it's everything by chance. All right? On one side, the people say, oh, everything is due to karma. Then you're going to appreciate the teaching on dependent origination, because on one side they believe in existence, another one non-existence. You are going to even appreciate the teaching on Nibbana, because people thought that after people exist, they don't exist after Nibbana, and then others they thought they exist in Nibbana. So all the teaching now are going to fall into place. Even the teaching of self, non-self, you're going to appreciate a lot, because on one side people believed in a self, another one people believed in no self. No, nothing. What the Buddha taught, known, not no. So you are going to really enjoy Buddha's teaching, because it was a critical response to the conflict that exists in the society. So thank you very much. I did my best. So if you didn't understand, please come to Uganda. Okay.
Sadhu, 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 sadhu. Or come tomorrow.
Tomorrow's
And
another
Sunday.
topic.
Tomorrow, Vesak Dhamma talk.